We would like to welcome you to Campus Sustainability Day, and please feel free to share your ideas for sustainability at Xavier with any of us. Sustainability Committee at Xavier represents a cross-section of our campus community, working to reduce energy use, transportation costs, increase green space, steward water and organic materials, and make our purchasing and maintenance practices more sustainable. The committee was created in 2008 when President Graham signed the ACUPUC, American College and University President's Climate Commitment, what an acronym. And in 2010, Xavier submitted our first plan for initiating actions to reduce emissions of greenhouse gases, which we still have plenty of work to do. Our 2014 theme was water justice, and in 2013, it was energy justice. Today's program will feature brief updates on Xavier sustainability, which will show our follow-up on these themes through energy and water conservation. Xavier is leading on sustainability. Xavier is now an officer in the Greater Cincinnati Green Business Council. We've been featured in an upcoming article in the prestigious journal Solutions for a Sustainable and Desirable Future. We will also be featured in the upcoming issue of a Journal of Jesuit Studies. And in fact, we were called by a Jesuit who's writing that article and told that the 3 Jesuit universities that have the attention of the Jesuit community are Seattle, Loyola, and Xavier. So we made the top 3, Scott, and we're going for number 1 next time. All right, we have made great progress in our 5 academic sustainability programs. We now have nearly 100 majors and minors. We have several graduates that came out of our brand new programs last year doing very well in the life after Xavier. Yes, there is one, students. And we're now supported by a new high-profile sustainability advisory board that includes CSOs, yes, I said CSO, Chief Sustainability Officer, from Fifth Third Bank, Procter & Gamble, Kroger, Macy's, and more. The sustainability theme for this year is consumption justice, which we define as sustainable patterns of consumption that are ecologically sound as well as economically advantageous for all members of society, especially the least well-off. You will hear a presentation by author and guest Benjamin Barber on this topic, followed by an opportunity for dialogue with you. I would like to actually start our thoughts today by reading a quote from Pope Francis. As you may know, there's really quite a momentous encyclical on care of our common earth that was issued by him this summer. And of course, you know he's coming, right? He'll be in the US next week, and he will be addressing sustainability issues while he's here. Mother Earth now cries out to us because of the harm that we have inflicted on her by our irresponsible use and abuse of the goods with which God has endowed her. We have come to see ourselves as her lords and masters, entitled to plunder her at will. The violence present in our hearts, wounded by sin, is also reflected in the symptoms of sickness evident in the soil, in the water, in the air, and in all forms of life. This is why the earth herself, burdened and laid waste, is among the most abandoned and maltreated of our poor. And I'm looking for John Snigocki. If you know anything about Catholic social teaching, you know that to define the earth as among our poor is a huge step because of all the Catholic social teachings around the poor. And what the Pope is doing is he's really saying there is not a conflict between taking care of the poor and taking care of the environment. They go together. They are inextricably entwined. And if you heard Father Graham at the ERS conversation the other night, the way he put this after he read the encyclical was that the Pope is redefining solidarity. So the solidarity now is not just between human beings, but it's also between human beings and the earth. So, what I would like to now do is introduce our Provost, Dr. Scott Chadwick, who will give us some opening thoughts, and our deep thanks to him for his continued support for sustainability at Xavier.
Thanks so much, Nancy. And thanks to all of you for attending this event. Thanks to the faculty and staff who work mightily to set this event up and to keep sustainability going, whether it's through academic programs, experiential education, or any of the other myriad things that they do. And thanks also to Dr. Barber for taking the time to come visit us and share his thoughts with us. When I read his work, I see a model of robust scholarship to which we can all aspire. It's not just the level of knowledge and the quality argumentation that he brings to bear that I value. And it's not just the extensive research that he and his team conduct and then cogently integrate. What I find of most value is the way in which he honors the complexity of the issues about which he speaks and writes. He invites us to think about and come to understand the interdependencies of the world, the essence of what it means to be human, and then how we humans behave. Though not written specifically for us here at Xavier, his work nonetheless speaks directly to who we are as we seek to learn and do scholarship and engage in reflective action. His is not a way of mere wanting things to be different. His is not a way of hope as a strategy. Rather, it is a time-tested way of deep analysis and reflection on the human condition based on reason and argumentation through public discourse, whether that be through text or speech. As we seek to blaze our sustainable trail, then, we would do well to emulate the methods that he uses. He has offered us much through his past work, and I expect the same today. And for that, for myself and on behalf of all of us, I welcome you.
I don't seem like it works.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shawn Brown. I'm a senior economics, sustainability, and society major. I'm also an intern within our Office of Sustainability, and that's where I spent the last half of last year and this past summer working. And I was invited by Dr. Berteau to share with you some of the things we've been working on and that we're continue to work on. Right now, we have an award-winning composting program where we have a bunch of different bales in our offices around campus, and we have our interns collect these and put these into our two earth tubs, along with the food scraps collected from offices around campus. Our food in our cafeteria is, as you know, collected and then now dehydrated and placed into these composting bins. And our composting better serves our Xavier community. Our own urban farm uses a majority of our own compost and their organic farming, along with the Nexus Garden and a few others associated with the program. And I'd just like to show you all the nice, neat sign that we have around campus for all of our composting. As Dr. Berteau mentioned, we are hoping to curb our carbon emissions, and part of that was through our ozone plan. And my fellow intern, Megan Burge, did a ton of research into the emissions that we as a campus produce, and some of the areas that we need to improve. A lot of that does have to come with our a lot of that has to come with us as commuting students. We need to find ways to curb or completely eliminate some of our excess driving. Our carbon report, this is something I've worked with personally, along with fellow intern Matt Wilda. As Dr. Berteau mentioned, in 2008, President Graham signed the American Colleges Universities Presidential Climate Covenant. Oh boy, that is a mouthful. But in this report is quite straightforward, a carbon profile. We look at the campus, the university as a whole, and we note every single carbon emission our campus produces. And it's quite a lot, and it's a really big report. But something else that we've been working on, and we had recently installed this past year, was an electric vehicle charger that is open to the public and is free of charge. We now have it up and operational, and we've partnered with another company to begin monitoring our own usage with the vehicle charger. Along with that, we've finally erected some proper signage so that our electric car compatriots don't have to deal with the problems of quote-unquote icing. That is, as the example here, a normal combustion car parking in a spot that they need to literally refuel. And lastly, I would like to speak about our Xavier Farmers Market. Two other interns have worked very hard to make this a possibility for campus. And if you all notice there at the bottom, down there in the bottom left, that today is September 14th, and that we have the farmers market going on currently. So I would like to invite you all to join myself and maybe a few others down at the farmers market in front of Cintas Center near the D'Artagnan statue, where you can have the chance to buy local fresh produce and a couple other organic or all-natural products. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon. I've been asked to say just a few words about our brand new building on campus, almost brand new, the renovated Alter Hall that opened this fall. And I'm just going to make 3 points, and going from perhaps least well-known visible to most visible, and stacking on one another. So the first point that I want to make is that the design process for this building was very holistic. And there are a couple elements to that. One is that this is the first building on campus that we integrated sustainability into the design process from the very beginning. And we had a lot of foundational elements to build on, one of which was a document that had been generated in a previous iteration of Alter Hall planning. It was called Guiding Principles of Construction of New Academic Buildings at Xavier from 2011. So we had that to work from, and I'll be referring to this education of the whole person a couple of times, which is one of the principles. The other thing we had, which has been mentioned several times already, is our campus sustainability plan, which had set very aggressive targets for new buildings in order to reach our goal of climate neutrality by 2030. Thirdly, with the generosity of physical plant, we had the aid of external sustainability consultants. So all of those together meant that we had the ability to really assess our own strengths moving forward and what was available out there in terms of technology for this renovated building. And the result is a building on campus that demonstrates what we learned as a committee designing Alter Hall, that when you bring together sustainability and Jesuit education, you get something much stronger than you would have had with the two when the two are separate. That they work synergistically, and I think the building is a great demonstration of that. The second thing that I want to mention is that what we have in Alter Hall is something that I started to call practical sustainability. And I came at this from a bit of initial, perhaps, envy at what Loyola Chicago has done with their environmental studies building. Some of you might have seen the building when you walk in. There's see-through flooring on the first floor where you can see their heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. There's a demonstration aquaponics system to your right as you walk in. Up several levels, there's a much larger aquaponics system that is used for classroom purposes and community purposes as well. But what we have in Alter Hall, I think, is in some ways much more important for us as an institution, particularly at this point in our journey. And it is this practical sustainability. Because what Alter Hall does for us is it gives us space and learning for everyone and every conceivable subject that we offer. It allows for everyday engagement. And I think as we move forward as a university, and we will probably continue to face, unfortunately, as most higher educational institutions will, economic and ecological challenges, we have in Alter Hall a fantastic model for what we can do in the future. It's a remarkable foundation to build on. The third point that I want to make is about some of the features of Alter Hall and how they relate to sustainability. And the headlines, if you will, of the sustainable features have to do with energy and water. The first headline is that the building is designed to use 50% less energy than any other building on campus per square foot. So it's a relative measure. What that means is this building, which is relatively new, and the one across the way use far more energy than Alta Hall is designed to use. Similarly with water, it's designed to use 40% of the water of any other building on campus. These are remarkable achievements, particularly given the heavy use that the building will see. But as I'll mention in a minute, to achieve them will require all of us to be good responsible users
What's
of
our
the building.
time on this one? Do we have to be done?
I will mention a couple other features that lie just below those headlines. One, you can see here, in terms of daylight harvesting. Anybody who's been in the building knows there's a tremendous amount of natural light in the building. And we know from studies that have been done over decades now, this is actually an entire field of academic study, that when you are exposed to natural light as opposed to artificial light, you are healthier. When you are exposed to natural light, you learn better, and you're more productive in terms of your work. So literally, when you walk into this building, you become a better person, a more whole
I'll
person.
split it more.
Another feature that I just want to mention is the rain and bog garden off to the side of the building. It is being constructed as we speak along the St. Ignatius steps. And this is one way in which the building speaks to the wider environment in which we find ourselves. So we all are residents of the Ohio River Valley. The water that falls on this campus eventually finds its way into the Ohio River. We get our drinking water from the Ohio River. Louisville gets its drinking water further down from the Ohio River. But you might also know that when it rains a lot, the water from our campus combines, unfortunately, with sewage and dumps into the Ohio River as a gift to Louisville and their drinking water program. So what we've done on the building is a demonstration project. When the rain falls on the roof, some of it is diverted into the rain and bog garden. More of it falls into a cistern so that during dry periods we can still water these rain and bog gardens. And the gardens do a number of things for us. They remind us of our place in this wider hydrological cycle. They provide habitat for plants and animals that otherwise wouldn't exist on this campus. They provide a space for scientific study. There's a number of biology classes that plan on using these habitats. And finally, it's a place for contemplative reflection. Moving water, will be peaceful, and we don't have another place on it like it on campus at this point. The final aspect of the building, and most of these phrases, demand control ventilation, energy recovery ventilator, have to do with it, are back to those headlines. So hopefully most of you have seen these. They just went up late last week, or today is my understanding. I don't teach an alcohol semester. And this is the cheat sheet for how to be that responsible user in Alter Hall. So in order for us to achieve those aggressive energy and water use targets, we will need all of you to be smart users of the building, to set the temperature as high as you can in the summer and as low as you can in the winter, to use the lighting as little as possible given the needs that are going on in the classroom at the time. And we intentionally designed the building this way. We intentionally wanted you to have to learn a little bit about what it means to be a better steward of our resources as you live and learn in Alter Hall and on this campus. I'm just going to finish with an example of the ripple impact that the building can have. A colleague of mine came up to me at the end of last week and she said, Kathleen, you're going to be so excited. After 2 weeks of teaching in Alter Hall, I changed the thermostat in my house to reflect the same temperature that's in Alter Hall because I realized it's comfortable. So that's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Welcome. I'm Gabe Gottlieb, the Director of Ethics, Religion, and Society program. I'm excited to welcome Dr. Benjamin Barber to Xavier University to take part in Xavier Sustainability Day. Dr. Barber is a senior research scholar at the Center for Philanthropy and Civil Society at City University, New York Graduate Center. He's the author of numerous books, perhaps best known for his work Jihad versus McWorld. He also wrote Consumed, which is the subject of his talk today, And if mayors ruled the
I'll start
world,
there,
which is
and
the
then
subject
I'll
of a
wander,
talk he'll be
then
giving
I'll
later
wander
this
on
evening
stage for the discussion.
at Centos
When I speak
in
because
the
I
Duff
have
Banquet
notes.
Room. In addition to his academic work, Dr. Barber was an outside advisor to President Clinton, an experience chronicled in his memoir, The Truth of Power. And he also produced a 10-part PBS series, The Struggle of Democracy. And I want to just highlight this point about democracy. It's safe to say that at the center of Dr. Barber's work is democracy. That is, how to expand it and how to strengthen it. In his landmark book, Strong Democracy, he advocates for a more participatory form of democratic life, one that would essentially supplant or are thinner, more representative forms of democratic practice. As he suggests in his work Consume, one of the greatest threats to building a viable and strong democracy is our culture of consumption. Our consumptive practices are not only challenging our democratic ethos, they are also threatening the viability and sustainability of our environment. Dr. Barber's work highlights the fact that our current environmental challenges require that we not only reorient our consumptive practices, but also that we revitalize and even reconsider our democratic practices. Today, he's going to give an introduction to his work and talk about his work on consumption, and we hope that this can be a participatory dialogue and discussion, so we invite your questions and participation. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Barber.